If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Senate Tuesday making a strong statement of bipartisanship, passing by a vote of 87-12 a criminal justice reform bill that will result in the most significant changes in a generation to prison sentencing laws. The First Step Act gives judges greater latitude in sentencing for some nonviolent offenses, reduces some mandatory minimum sentences, and expands job training programs to help keep former inmates from returning to prison. President Trump on Tuesday night said this bill will keep communities safer and provide hope and a second chance to those who earn it.
And great, but let's be real for just a second. Was there 3 million people incarcerated in this country? This is for federal prisons. It's going to affect about 187,000 people. It's a step in the right direction. It's something that needs to be done. We have too many people that are nonviolent offenders that get caught up in stupidity and hopelessness and addiction. Some people in there that are struggling with mental illness. And that cost us money. I always tell everybody, from a conservative side, prison reform is a smart thing to do. Take out the human nature side, right? Let's just look at it a fiscally conservative side. We waste a lot of money. We do. We've turned incarcerating people in some areas into big business. We've got unions that are powerful. There's a lot of things that go into this. It is a step in the right direction, but is it the end all to be all? No. But the reality is it is a step in a direction that needs to be taken in this country. And even Van Jones, a person who is so critical of this president, could talk about the Christmas miracle.
This is a Christmas miracle. You had, for the first time in more than a generation, both parties coming together to do something for the people at the bottom. There's no big super PAC. You're not getting campaign donations. This was the right thing to do. And what it means is that people can earn their way home sooner by getting themselves job ready, transforming themselves. There's going to be programs so that people who are locked up have an incentive and a reason to work hard and come home better and not bitter.
Absolutely. And here's one of the things, though. This is my issue with the jobs program, right? This is the issue I have with something like this in a jobs program. We're going to train them to do jobs that when they get out, they can't have. That's the reality of it. We're going to train you to have a job that many of you, that when you get out, nobody can employ you in that position. Why not? Right? Because you look at some of these programs. I think it teaches you, plumbing, HVAC, all of these things. What do you do when you order a plumber? We've got a safety guarantee that our person's been checked, that they've got no criminal past. Nobody's going to hire you. They're going to look and say, I can't. If I'm going to send people to my homes or I'm going to do whatever it is that I'm going to do for a lot of these jobs that they're going to be trained for, they're not going to have the opportunity to work. So we can train the hell out of them. But if we don't give them the opportunity outside of that, it doesn't mean anything. That is the thing about it. It can't just be a one-prong attack. And that's why I've said you need to start going to employers and you need to start saying, and states need to do this, that, look, we've got somebody who's going to be coming out of prison. They went in there for whatever, low-level crime, possession of weed, with an intent to distribute, but he was just a low-level dealer, not really doing anything. It's just something like that, which you act like, come on, let's just get over the weed thing for a second. But let's just, these are all hypotheticals. And if I'm an employer, I say, I would love to give a guy a chance, but I can't assume that responsibility. My insurance and all this stuff. Well, that's when states need to stand up and say, okay, fine, then I guess we can assume it for you, for him. Not your other people, right? That you hired, that you put through the background check and the whole 9 yards. But for a person like that who gets out of prison, if you assume the responsibility, right, you take that upon yourself, then there's opportunity. It is a step in the right direction. It is a step that, I think Donald Trump, he's talked about prison reform, and you've seen some of the stuff that he's done. And, 87 to 12, pretty good. Right? That's a good move right there. Some people wanted it to be tougher. Some people wanted to throw some other things in there, the usual stuff that goes on in politicking. But, both sides came together to at least start taking a step in the right direction.
To his credit, Donald Trump moved from talking about, law and order and lock them up to saying, listen, everybody deserves a second chance. People make mistakes. Let's take some proven programs from Georgia where they cut the prison population and the crime rate. Texas cut the prison population and the crime rate and do it at the federal level. And he became, to the shock of everybody, the biggest, loudest champion on criminal justice and used his power to get something done.
Yeah. It'll go up to the House now. And then eventually they'll pass through it and on it'll go and Trump will sign it. And I think it's a good thing. It is a step. But like everything else, you just don't stop at that step. There's things that we have to do to make this something where you'll see long lasting changes and results. And it can't just end that you give somebody an opportunity to earn their way out of there. And then when they get out, after doing the things that you said, hey, look, here, do this, and you'll have a chance to get out of there. Then when they get themselves out of there, they've got nowhere to go. That's when the recidivism rate rises. Because after a while, people get frustrated. It's back to the same old same because they didn't get a second chance. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you on this beer. God, we're so close to Christmas. How many of you are just... I've shopped. I've done my shopping stuff. And then every time I feel like I've done the shopping I need to do, then I realize I got more shopping. And you're like, geez. I thought, but nope, more shopping. Christmas seems to never end. And I always look, and it used to be when I was a kid, as I didn't start, because my birthday's tomorrow, so I didn't start shopping for Christmas until after my birthday, right? But as you get older, you don't do that. But when you're younger, it's like, no, it's not even, I want to celebrate my birthday. And by the way, for those of you out there who have family members, or maybe some of you have birthdays around this time, you guys know, when people say happy birthday, Merry Christmas, and they give you a present, drives me crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That there be your Twitter.
The first U.S. troops arrived in eastern Syria in late 2015. It started very small, about 50 U.S. troops. Then it grew several months later to 250. And the U.S. kept very quiet the number of actual troops that were in Syria. We were always told it was about 500. In reality, that number was more like 2,000. And that's where we've been for about the last year and a half. Those troops have been advising and assisting the Syrian Democratic Forces now that whole time against ISIS. And that force that used to be a ragtag group is now pretty much an efficient force.
Yeah, we're going to pull out of Syria. We've got, I don't know how many troops total, I mean, you hear, well, we got 2,500, we got this, we've got enough that it's time to pull out. And part of that is because, Trump's thing was to do what? He wanted to go in and he wanted to do what? Destroy ISIS, right? He wanted to go after ISIS. Think about this, for all the craziness that's going on. Build the wall, don't build the wall, Russia, Flynn, this, that, and the other. Oh, my God, did he pay these women? Did he not pay these with campaign finance? All of that stuff. You look and you say, that justice reform is pretty damn good. A lot of people in the Obama administration probably look around and go, why didn't we do something like that, right? We had an opportunity to do some stuff like this yesterday. Bumps, banning bump stocks. A lot of people look around and go, "Oh, I don't know why maybe we should have thought of something like this." And then you've got ISIS, where a lot of people, even inside the administration after Obama left, were vocal and saying, "Yeah, we didn't do enough to fight ISIS when we should have fought ISIS in the way that we should have fought ISIS. We didn't do enough, and this guy did do the right thing."
ISIS used to control a lot of territory in eastern Syria. 98% of that is now gone. They are trapped in a very small corner in the middle Euphrates River Valley. The last battle at the town of Hajin has been going on for months now, and it's been expected that these Kurdish-led forces will defeat them. It's just been a matter of time. The real question now is how long it could take these forces to do this all on their own. Louis Martinez, ABC News, the Pentagon.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, how bad could it get again? Because, when you pull out sometimes, unless you leave behind, and usually the whole thing is when you do something like this, it's what? It's to go in, it's to train, it's to fight, but it's got to be a two-prong attack. You've got to be training people. So when you leave, that vacuum's not there, and that, because you see it with Taliban and a lot of other of these groups, what happens is we go in and we disrupt, we destroy, we fight, we kill. They leave, and nothing's there to make sure that they don't come back. That vacuum is right there, and in comes everybody else again, and the fight is back on, and then we're back in it over and over again. If you leave behind something that will take on ISIS and to make sure that it doesn't feel like it can operate freely and that it's not worth it, what you'll find is they'll eventually go somewhere else or just altogether disappear, which is the hope. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So let me ask you a question. Got a poll question today, right? Is it or isn't it a Christmas movie?
Get ready to jingle some bells and deck the halls with bows of Bruce Willis,
Into the coast, we get together, have a few laughs.
Alan Rickman,
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
together in the greatest Christmas story ever told.
Is it the greatest Christmas story ever told? Probably not. But is it a Christmas movie or is it not? Right? I say, look, it can be a bit of both, right? Because it's Christmas time and the way, at the end of the movie, I don't want to give anything away here, but, he's got looks a little bit like a pissed off, angry Santa Claus. I feel like it's a Christmas movie, right? What do you think? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. 24% of you so far say it's a Christmas movie. 25% say action. 51% of you say it's both. I can go with it's both. I can do that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. So the holidays are right here, right? Time to look back on the year and look forward, reflect on everything, and you say to yourself, I got to do some nice things for some people out there, friends, family, people I love, business associates. 1-800-Flowers.com has your back. Right now, order 12 holiday light roses for only $29.99. And 1-800-Flowers is going to give you another dozen roses in a vase absolutely free. That's a 50% off its original price. Holiday lights roses, perfect for holiday surprises. The special people on your list, the beautiful bouquet and a vibrant array of Christmas lights-inspired roses. It's going to leave everyone breathless. Oh, yeah, stunned, amazed. I've got some right here. They're gorgeous, absolutely. 12 holiday lights, right? 12 holiday roses, $29.99. Another dozen roses. A vase, free, unreal deal. Boom! Expires soon, though. Hurry, hurry, hurry. How do you get this amazing deal? How do you do it? How do you get the 12 holiday lights plus another dozen in a vase for free? Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. When you do, there's going to be a top right-hand corner. Click on the radio icon. Type in BENSON. And you're going to get that deal. 1-800-Flowers.com. 1-800-Flowers.com. Code is Benson. 1-800-Flowers.com. Code is Benson. Use it. Man, you're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love it. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Despite pressure from President Trump to keep interest rates the same, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says
political considerations play no role whatsoever in our discussions or decisions about monetary policy.
The Fed chair saying they raised rates another 0.25% to keep inflation low, and that presidential tweets didn't sway them.
Nothing will deter us from doing what we think is the right thing to do.
Yeah, they're going to raise rates. Trump warned, don't do this. He sees this as something that's going to hurt the economy. You take that and you look at what's going on with the tariffs, and there's frustration out there, and they talk to all of the CFOs from the Fortune 500 companies, and over 50% of them say that they see a recession coming at some point in time next year. Now, some of them are debating on whether or not it's going to be a big recession or if it's just going to be more of a slowdown, and is it going to be like 2007? The possibility's there. I'm telling you, it's coming. But if you play it smart, and that's the big thing, opportunity is there. What do you do in a situation like this when you see the rates going up? Because you've got to understand something. Money's going to be more expensive to borrow. Meaning things are going to be more expensive to pay off, meaning people are going to have less money. So you got to start looking around and saying, okay, what's the best way for me to handle stuff?
Stay aggressive about paying down that debt. Look at refinancing variable rate debt into fixed rates. And on credit cards, grab those 0% balance transfer offers. They can lock in a period of time where you're not only insulated from interest rate hikes, but you've got a great tailwind towards getting out of debt once and for all.
Yeah, so you got to be smart about it. You do. If you're a saver, this is good to a certain extent. But the reality is you've just got to be smart about paying down those debts. I have a credit card. I've got the first car payment I've had in years, and it's virtually nothing. I don't ever want that. I don't like having debt. I've got friends who they live off their debt and they do very well, but they're smart about it. At the same time, it's just makes me uncomfortable. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. I heard this one from the kids last night. We're going to deliver to it just like Santa Claus does because you've hung the stockings with care. Here's your urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
All right. I heard this one from the Utes of America last night. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? They were looking at somebody's Instagram and they go, oh man, that girl's totally pilot lighting her boyfriend. I'm like, how do you even know? They're like, because we know her. And we know her boyfriend. I said, well, what's pilot lighting? I don't get it. They said, well, what it is you're essentially putting it in the guy's face that you are flirting with all of these other guys by posting beautiful pictures of yourself, even though you're in a relationship, because you're kind of looking to move on from them. So they call it pilot lighting. I'm like, geez, I guess she is pilot lighting. Pilot lighting. Ho, ho, ho. Don't get pilot lit. Your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
So is it or isn't it a Christmas movie? It's simple. Answer the question. Die Hard. Christmas movie, yay or nay? Text the program 323-538-CHAD. You can tweet at me at Chad Benson Show. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
We'll soon take up a simple measure that will continue government funding into February so we can continue this vital debate after the new Congress has convened.
That's what we're going to do. Mitch McConnell there. He's so exciting. I was talking earlier to Congressman Andy Biggs, and he said Mike Lee does the best of him. I'm like, it's good to see you guys poke fun at each other. I said, do you guys ever just want to go rumble with the Senate? Just throw down. It's like, come on. No, you don't do that. They're not going to. Just kick the can down the road. That's all they're doing. Kicking the can down the road. Shut down. Let them shut it down. Who cares? I won't notice it because A, I'm not going to any national park, and B, your threats are stupid. I don't care. But Chad, you should care. Why? Why should I care? First of all, it's not going to shut down. How many times we've learned this? Remember, for a while it was like people would freak out, and now we're like, what? It's not like these people aren't going to get paid. Well, they're not going to get paid. Well, yeah, but they're not going to be shut down for months and months and months. They're going to shut down for hours, if that, and they're going to kick the can down the road till February, and then we'll get to that thing, and then they'll finally pass something, and they'll all pat each other in the back, and then we're the ones who are like, we go to pat ourselves on the back, and we find out, oh, that's a knife. That's a knife of more debt and more taxes and more waste. Thank you. We appreciate that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Mr. Phil's watched TV, and he says in my ear, how many more people is Mueller going to interview? And I'm like, my interview with him is next week. And I'm like, I don't even know these people. I have no idea. I just talk about them. How should I? But were you involved? No, I'm not involved. Are you sure you're not? I'm totally, positively sure I'm not involved whatsoever. Now, but did you promise the Russians through an intermediary in a dossier that you were going to help Trump by getting to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange while he was hiding out in the Ecuadorian embassy underneath the desk, barbecuing guinea pig, that you were going to help him expose the deep state? No. What are you talking about? Doesn't Julian Assange look like every bad villain in the history of every movie? Doesn't he? He does, right? A little bit? Just a smidge? Just like, oh, you look like that villain. You look like you should be a vampire in those vampire movies with Kate Beckinsale, Underworld. We're here to suck your blood. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I don't even think they say that anymore, right? Like, that'd be stupid. I'm here to suck your blood. Really? That's stupid. You're a dumb vampire. You are.
What would it take to make you sign off Facebook for good? Researchers at Kenyon College say for most of us, about $1,000. That's regardless of age, gender, and use of other social media platforms. But the more active you are on Facebook, the more likely you'd need a little more money to deactivate your account. The study is in the journal PLOS One.
Could you? I'm sure. Look, if you want to, you can do anything like this. Like, you want to stop these things, you can do it. It's like everything else. Everything has a price, right? Like okay, so I go to you, producer Phil. You love food, but what's your favorite food in the whole wide world?
Oh, good Lord. I'm just going to say stained glass pub pizza.
Okay. If I told you, you can't have stained glass pub pizza ever for the history, or pizza in general for the rest of your life, but here's a bunch of money, you could do it.
It depends on how much money.
Well, like everything's got a price. Everything has a price. Everything in life has a price. Sometimes our price is we stand up for stuff we believe in. Sometimes it's monetary, right? Sometimes it's life-saving. You're 300 pounds, 5'6". You sweat when it's cold. Your doctor tells you, I'm not saying you need to lose weight right now, because I tell this to all my patients. I'm telling you, you need to lose weight right now or you're going to die in the next 2 months. You're going to lose weight. You are. That's what's going to happen. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really never thought of it like that. Yeah, of course. But that's what will happen. Everything has a price. If you want to give up Facebook, you can give up Facebook. How many people want to do it? We're addicted to it. We're addicted to it. I'll tell you one of the reasons we're addicted to it is because we're kind of bored. That's like yesterday, or was it earlier this week, we were talking about the 4-day work week. And as long as your production doesn't drop down to, under what it would be for a 5-day work week. So if you work 5 days a week and you can do that in 4 days, right? I bet you could probably do all of your work in 3 days, minus stuff that's time sensitive, meaning, it has to be done on this day and we're not going to get it till a day you wouldn't work. But you could probably do that because we don't put out everything we could put out. right? You get lost. You go down a rabbit hole. You watch YouTube. You're on Facebook. You're screwing around. Come on. We all know that. Like, I'm as guilty as anybody. Totally as guilty as anybody. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Paul Ryan is done. He's out. He said his goodbyes today. His goodbyes.
Here's to the people. Here's to the people's house. Here's to possibilities. Thank you for everything.
Oh. It was interesting to listen to him talk. I love what he said here. And you often wonder, because like I talk to a lot of politicians, pretty much on a daily basis. They'll either text me or we'll have conversations. We'll interview them. And, a lot of the good interview stuff happens off the air. But they get sick and tired of it. They're sick and tired of a lot of stuff that goes on. And they get, they're worried like anybody else. What's the base going to say? How are people going to react on social media? Why is it like this? Why can't we just do like last night? They're all patting themselves on the back. We got a bipartisan bill done. It's really great. You did the right thing. You could have done more, but it's a first step that's really good. But is that what you're there for? I've often wondered if you run it more like a business, how much better at times it would absolutely be. But because the difference is the government can't run itself like a business because you have competing businesses inside of business. And that's the weird thing. Like, no, you should just, you guys should want to be successful. Could you imagine if your sales department and your accounting department hated each other and they refused to do anything for each other and refused to work with each other? Well, I'm not going to process any of your orders. It's like you would fail. You would falter. Politics like that is ridiculous. And your boss comes out and says, you guys need to do this, right? Or this business is going to go under. But that's what politics is today. And also part of it is the fact that, what if your customers all cheered that side? Oh, I'm only going to support the accounting department. And the other side's like, no, I'm only going to support the sales department.
It's just emotional pablum fed through a trough of outrage. It's exhausting. It saps meaning from our politics. And it discourages good people from pursuing public service.
Yeah, that's the one thing when I talk to people who are thinking about running for higher office, like maybe they're, council people, aldermen, state reps, things of that nature, is they're never quite sure if they want to go through the hell that you get put through. They think about it. They debate it. It's tough, man. It's tough. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want my life picked apart like that. But somebody said to me, if it was just going to be straightforward about the actual politics of it all, the inner workings of everything, the budgets, the things, the stuff that politics should be about, the day-to-day wonky kind of stuff, and it wasn't going to be about anything else, I think more people think about doing it. But the reality is there's we're not like that. It's not who we are in this country. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. As you get ready to travel, be prepared.
If you haven't traveled for a while, there are a couple of changes. Not only do laptops have to come out, but every large electronic has to come out, and food as well. And the reason is sometimes food can mask things.
Yeah, that's true. Bit of advice. Don't take sticky food on a plane. You're in a cylinder 35,000 feet in the air. It's enclosed. You have no idea how annoying you could be. I flew out to Missouri last year. The person in front of me had what I assumed was just vile, disgusting socks. That's also something you shouldn't do. But it was food, and it was just... But it's going to be a busy travel season, so be prepared.
This is the first busy day of the travel season. The airlines are expecting 45 million Americans to fly over this holiday season. The weather's a problem. The airlines are telling us that they can handle that weather. But the question is, what about TSA? Well, they tell us they are adding officers to deal with the lines.
Which is different, because normally TSA is like, we give everybody vacation this time of year. We want to make your trip to the airport excruciating. That's our whole goal. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Poll question today. It's pretty simplistic. It's straightforward. It's a Christmas poll question. And that is it or isn't it a Christmas movie? Is it or isn't it a Christmas movie?
It's Chris. This is John.
Nice beer.
He just wants to spend Christmas with the family.
Is Daddy coming home with you?
We'll see what Santa and Mommy can do.
But when he gets stuck at the office party,
Merry Christmas.
It'll be a holiday
Merry Christmas.
he'll never forget.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah. I think it's a bit of a Christmas movie, action movie. People are like, well, can it really be that? I'm like, yeah. Like this year when I went and saw the movie Halloween, I was like, is it a horror movie that is dressed up like an action movie, or an action movie that's also a horror movie? It's great. I think it's a Christmas movie, although some people are texting and say, well, I think part 2 was more of a Christmas movie. No, I think it's a Christmas movie. You can go with it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Medicare open enrollment. What'd you do for that? Did you have any help? If you're with AMAC, you'd had help. That's right. Right there. There's your help, because they've partnered with Senior Resource Network. Help right there. You're going to get your own dedicated agent. Who's out there advocating on your behalf for common sense immigration reform, Social Security reform, things of that nature? That's what AMAC's all about, the conservative alternative to ARP. And right now they're giving you an opportunity, if you're over the age of 50, to sign up for free. amac.us/chat. Here's the other great thing. Maybe you want to sign up for your parents. It's free. You get a year free. They don't even want your credit card. Sign up for your parents. Sign up for somebody that you love. You may want to give them this. It's a perfect thing. Great stocking stuffer. It's amazing what they can do for you, because on top of all of that stuff, the benefits they have, too numerous to mention: retail, restaurant, hotel, travel discount, plenty of them, and then some. Movie discounts, up to 40% off tickets to movies, up to 40% off amusement parks, things of that nature. Check it out. It is free for 1 year. It's on me. All you have to do is go to amac.us/chat. 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 1 year. It's on me. Sign up today. amac.us/chat. AMAC is better for you, better for America. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to the Alt Middle, where solutions live and ignorance dies. The Chad Benson Show.
The package delivery service UPS got into some hot water yesterday after sending out a tweet that rubbed some parents the wrong way. See if you can tell why. The tweet they put out said, if your child addresses a letter to the North Pole, you can leave it with us. We do shredding. Advertising, UPS always asks, what can Brown do for you? And I guess the answer is destroy your childhood. That's what you can do.
Yeah, you don't want that. Oh, my goodness me. Speaking of packages, the pressure's on, right? Like, let's be real. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. People still trying to... I passed two people in the hallway, and they look frazzled. And I'm like, what's going on? They're like, I'm just trying to get all the shopping done. I'm trying to get all the shopping done. I've got to get it done. And I'm like, I get it. And it's weird because we put ourselves under this artificial, bizarre pressure, and we always let it sneak up on us, right? Christmas, like, is it December again? Is it the 25th again? Wait. How did I don't even know how it got here.
Amazon did extend that deadline to today. So if you want to ship for free, you don't even have to be a Prime member. You can send those packages out. But Walmart and Target, they have their deadlines tomorrow. U.S. Postal Service, also the deadline for priority mail is tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, if you're a baller and you got that coin and you need some absolutely positively delivered on that day,
FedEx, you can wait until Christmas Day in 30 markets across the country and ship those packages out same day on Christmas Day, but it will cost you $50 on top of the price of shipping.
Boom. So if you're a baller, you can do that. If you're a baller. And if you're, I always thought, man, $50 doesn't sound like a lot. Like, it seems like a fair, if you need to get something there, I think that seems pretty decent. $50. Not bad. You know what I need? This is the thing. Because you get this time of year, and it's like you want everything to be perfect for your kids or for whoever. I hate the most is the having to put stuff together. Right? Like trying to put stuff together. And like this year, my son has no idea all the crazy stuff he's going to get. But it's like putting together stuff. And I'd just rather pay somebody, just please put it together. It's because it's going to be a mess. I know if I do it, it's going to be a disaster. And I don't want him to get hurt using it.
The Force is super strong with George Lucas, the Star Wars creator named by Forbes as the richest U.S. celebrity. Forbes says he's worth $5.4 billion, thanks largely to the more than $4 billion he got for selling Lucasfilm to Disney in 2012. Filmmaker Steven Spielberg is second with $3.7 billion, Oprah in third with $2.8 billion, and Michael Jordan in fourth with $1.7 billion. New to the list this year in fifth, Kylie Jenner, just 21 years old. Her $900 million earned mostly from her cosmetics line. She's tied with Jay-Z.
Wow. $900 million. She's 21. That is, I think it's great. $5.4 billion. Billion. Do you remember when you were like, wow, so-and-so's worth a couple $1 million, actors and actresses, and some of them did okay, but then you look and you're like, $5.4 billion. You sold what? I think he had Industrial Light and Magic, and I don't know if he sold that along with everything to, was it Disney that bought the franchises and decided that they were going to ruin them? Yeah, that's what we want. Hey, can we buy that from you, George? We got a great idea. We're going to produce one every 3 weeks. That's awful. Oh, Mickey. I know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Mickey, do you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie or is it a action movie? I always thought it was a Christmas movie. There you go. But who am I? You're Mickey Mouse. Oh, yeah, that's right. Text the program. Always love hearing from you. Take the poll question. Check us out, thechadshow.com. You get all your cool stuff there, including the podcast, which is absolutely free for a limited time. If you take one podcast, you can take all the rest of them for no price because that's how we roll. 323-538-2423. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
President Trump all but declaring mission accomplished with his sudden decision to pull all 2,000 American troops out of Syria within the next 30 days. The president bluntly tweeting, "We have defeated ISIS in Syria, my only reason for being there." The move flies in the face of what many of his own advisors on Syria were saying just days ago.
Yeah, and look, have we defeated ISIS? I don't think it's tough to defeat an ideology, right? It's tough to defeat an ideology. We can go in and stomp out areas. We can make people flee. We could do those kind of things. And in a situation like this, geopolitically, it's a hornet's nest, right? You've got the Russians in there. You've got freedom fighters. You've got ISIS. You've got 10 different organizations and groups fighting over stuff. You don't even know what you're fighting over at some point in time. Many of them just fighting to stay alive. And it's ugly. It is an ugly situation. And, you know, he is out there talking about it today.
We've been fighting for a long time in Syria. I've been president for almost 2 years, and we've really stepped it up. And we have won against ISIS.
I don't think again, defeating an ideology is tough. Can we stomp out something there? Yes. Here's been our biggest issue in a lot of these things. We're really good at getting in them. We're really bad at getting out.
The first U.S. troops arrived in eastern Syria in late 2015. It started very small, about 50 U.S. troops. Then it grew several months later to 250. And the U.S. kept very quiet the number of actual troops that were in Syria. We were always told it was about 500. In reality, that number was more like 2,000. And that's where we've been for about the last year and a half. Those troops have been advising and assisting the Syrian Democratic Forces now that whole time against ISIS. And that force that used to be a ragtag group is now pretty much an efficient force.
And that right there is vitally important. Because in a lot of these places, we go in and our boot print is large and we're like a bull in a china shop. And we go in with the whole thing of we're going to whoop some ass, we're going to take some names and do the things that we do. And sometimes it is because there is a retaliation side. We're defending some. Sometimes they may have something we want. We protect, that may hurt our economy. So let's not pretend that that's not true. And so we go in there and we do these things. And then we decide, okay, it's time for us to go. We're not quite sure how to do it. And then we're just like, let's pull out. As we all know, the pull-out method rarely works. So what ends up happening is we leave a vacuum there. And we think we've destroyed something, and they just like cockroaches, they just all just scatter away. And then when we're gone, they come right back. And that's the worry, right? That is the worry of this. The one thing I'm hardened by is the fact that I think that these troops in particular are not like a lot of other troops. Because a lot of these other troops that we've trained in the past and they fall apart is because it's a ragtag bunch of guys and in some places guys and gals, and it's a job, but it's a job they're not willing to die for. Where from what I hear, these people are ready to put it to the force, and they're battle hardened. And in a lot of other places, they're not as battle hardened because groups like Al Qaeda and Taliban, they'll pull way back, and then we train a bunch. And then when we train them, they're not ready to fight. And when the fighting comes, they drop and they leave. And so I don't know. You've got some people out there, likes of Marco Rubio.
I believe we will lose influence beyond the region as a result of this decision. So I don't know who advised that this decision be made, but it's a terrible mistake.
Yeah. Some people are saying that it's a terrible mistake. And then you've got other people out there like Rand Paul.
I think history shows that our founding fathers were very, very concerned with too much war. So am I. We're in war in too many places. We've been at war for too long. I commend the president for his decision.
Absolutely. So it really depends on what side you're on. And let's be real. This and how this goes is predicated on how good these 2,500 are set up to fight. But you've got Russia's influence there. And that's part of the big thing because Russia's there. They've got the ports, the whole 9 yards, it's all of this stuff. There's a lot of things that are going on there that are flying around besides just can we defeat ISIS? And that's what a lot of people are worried about. Are we pulling out and it's going to end up being like that place where Saddam used to reside?
The day we withdraw from Syria puts in motion, I think, a lot of bad things in the region, and we'll eventually pay for it here, just as we did in Iraq.
I don't know if we'll pay for it here. I don't. But that's, again, a lot of this, how this goes, is predicated on what? What happens to this ragtag group of 2,500 or so, give or take? Because if they can hold steady, because remember, while they're fighting ISIS, there's also other groups in the region fighting ISIS, not just this group. Then you've got the Russians and the Syria. You've got so many people that also want to see ISIS defeated. If it was just us alone, I'd feel a little worried. But I'm hopeful. And we are in too many damn places. We're in Yemen, and we're here, and we're there. And we're like, first it was the place where I thought we should have been from jump, which it's hard to argue against what took place after 9/11, that there should have been some sort of reaction, right? And there it was. But then we went to Iraq, ill-advised. And since then, our footprint has grown, and we're stomping, and I want to get out of places. I do. I want to get out of a region that can't stand us with an archaic ideology. I know it's tough to completely pull out, but I would like to lessen our footprint 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Last night, very interesting. They all celebrated, as they tend to do. And that, of course, was with criminal justice reform. They did something, kids. They came together. They kumbaya'd it.
The Senate Tuesday making a strong statement of bipartisanship, passing by a vote of 87-12 a criminal justice reform bill that will result in the most significant changes in a generation to prison sentencing laws. The First Step Act gives judges greater latitude in sentencing for some nonviolent offenses, reduces some mandatory minimum sentences, and expands job training programs to help keep former inmates from returning to prison. President Trump on Tuesday night said this bill will keep communities safer and provide hope and a second chance to those who earn it.
Yeah. And I believe this is a good step, but let's put the numbers out there. The numbers are this. We have a lot of people in prison. 2 to 3 million. Some are in jails, some are in prison, some are there because of mental health issues. Some people deserve to be in jail for the rest of their lives. They need to be nowhere near human beings. Some prisoners are so bad that they can't be around other prisoners because of their influence inside of prison and outside of prison. We're not talking about those people. The average person in jail is going to get out of jail. The average person in prison is going to get out. It costs us a ton of money. The recidivism rate is ridiculous. I think it's a good first step. But out of all of the people that are in prison, this affects just under 200,000 people. So that is something that I think people need to understand. But it is a good first step.
It would have been 88 if Lindsey Graham had been in the country. 88 votes to help people behind bars. 88 votes to give people a second chance, and 100% of people, and there's some lies out there, it's only going to help 2,000 people, 4,000 people. No. 100% of our 180,000 people behind bars, if they stay out of trouble, can come home early. 100% of the women will no longer be shackled and abused when they're pregnant. 100% of juveniles will no longer be in solitary confinement in our federal system. 50% of those people who are locked up can earn their way home even sooner if they are job ready. The New York Times says this is the biggest breakthrough in criminal justice in a generation.
Yeah, that's Van Jones, a guy who is not only a critic of Trump, but a critic of anybody who supports Trump in any way, shape, or form. And that is him. Last night, he actually heaped praise on Donald Trump. Because remember, criminal justice reform, Obama didn't jump on the criminal justice reform, right? There's a lot of things that could have been done that weren't done. And usually, both sides ignore those kind of things. I found out today there's 800 bills that have been passed down to the Senate that are sitting there that haven't even been sorted. They move at a snail. They move like evolution. That's how fast government moves at times, and it's frustrating as hell. This was something that Kushner and Trump, and it wants to get some. One of the things I said about Trump from a long time, from the start of his presidency, when you see all this craziness, is it's an uncomfortable time of chaos that we see. But is this chaos what we would see in the normal business world? When you find people that can't do their jobs and you flip them out really fast and you're just like, I'm over this person who can't do their job? Because we're so used to government where even if you fail at your job, they keep you there forever. Trump wants to move faster than a lot of other politicians. And when you know that they've passed 800 bills down to the Senate, and those things are sitting there, not voted on, not being talked about, none of those things are happening. That makes you think, well, yeah, as crazy as Trump is at times, maybe you guys need to step it up. Somebody needs to light a fire under your ass. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. I really do. People are texting in. I appreciate that. We're asking the question today about movies. It's a holiday movie. I think it's a Christmas movie and an action movie. Some people say, no, it's just an action movie. Some people say it's definitely a Christian movie, Christmas movie. What do you say?
Get ready to jingle some bells and deck the halls with boughs of Bruce Willis.
Look at the coast. We get together, have a few laughs.
Alan Rickman.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Together in the greatest Christmas story ever told.
Yeah. Die Hard. Christmas movie or not, text the program 323-538-2423. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Love getting tweets from you guys. Feel free to tweet along and check out the Facebook as well, the Chad Benson Show. Losing sleep. Don't do it. MyPillow is going to help you with that. And right now, if you're act right now, this is what they're doing for you. They're going to throw in 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, right? So you're going to get 2 premium MyPillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. What are you waiting for? Great Christmas gifts. Think about this. Let's just say, you know what? I want my own MyPillow. So you go out and you get this, and you can give another MyPillow to somebody. You can give somebody also stocking stuffer like things for the Go Anywhere pillows. It's a win-win across the board. You're going to give something that is going to continue to give over and over and over and over again. That's what MyPillow is all about. That's what it is. It's going to give you the best night's sleep. So what are you waiting for? 100% machine washable and dryable cotton, 10-year warranty, made right here in the USA. And check this out. Not only do you get all that, they're going to extend their money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2019. You will not find a deal like this anywhere else. Go to MyPillow.com, use promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975. That's 800-983-4975. Use promo code Benson, or go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. The promo code is Benson. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
I think when the president says he's not going to back down from border security and that he'll find the money, quote, one way or the other, it's because he has a solemn obligation to all of us, including people who didn't vote and people who didn't vote for him, to make sure that we are protected in our communities.
Oh, Kellyanne Conway. Yeah, so he's backing down from the wall. He's not backing down from the wall. Then he was going to back down from the wall. And some people say he is, and some people say he is. And then he went and did the Justice Bill, and he did the bump stocks, and pulling out of Syria today, and all of these kind of things. And then yesterday, of course, you had all the stuff that was happening over there with Flynn. And what's going on is that? Is there going to be more stuff coming out with that? Oh, my God, are they going to shut down? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, God, it's just all a bunch of crap. It is. It is just, He's not getting his wall. He can go out and look for money elsewhere, but the money that's been allocated for in certain agencies, you can't touch it. So there's laws out there. You can't touch it. It's criminal to touch it. So he could go fund me it. He could do all of those kind of things. But at least at this point in time, it doesn't look like he's going to get, those things that he thinks that he needs and wants. So as far as that goes, we're in a stalemate yet again. And I just sit back and go, because all the while this is happening, I look back at this past year and I say, okay, healthcare. Has that been handled?
The healthcare system that our families rely on to find affordable quality coverage and get the care they need will be thrown into chaos. And that is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. And why is that? There's no competition. They fight. They restrict. They do so many things. The government gets more in the way, makes it narrow and narrow. It makes less players on the field. They're able to price lock in stuff. Hence the reason why a catheter costs you X amount of dollars more than your awesome computerized phone that you can do just about anything with. And this Texas ruling, and that's what this thing was about last week with Obamacare, this ruling is going to be very interesting because of what it means. They took out that portion that Chief Justice Roberts said, well, it's because of this thing that it's a tax, so it is constitutional. Without it, not constitutional anymore. Still going to take a long time to wind this thing up and take it out and to do all that. But I look back over the last 2 years, I haven't seen the things that were supposed to happen. We're all frustrated. And as we head into 2019, I don't know about you, but I'm seeing prices go up, and I'm getting frustrated. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter, CHADBENSON. Somebody tweeted in, well, Home Alone's a Christmas movie. And I said, is that a Christmas movie? And how could that be a Christmas movie and not Die Hard? What about Gremlins? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Using the free market to shut people up. Right or wrong, Tucker Carlson put his mouth and his foot together. And it's costing him. We'll talk about it. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
President Trump has apparently asked his cabinet secretaries to look at whether their agencies have funding that can be used toward the border wall. Man, he's really obsessed with building a wall. Mr. President, your policies are incredibly cruel towards immigrants. You're damaging the economy and our society to the point where coming to America to pursue a better life won't even be a logical option. Don't you see? You're the wall. The wall was inside you all along.
Oh. Yeah. Remember when illegal immigration crashed after 2007 because people were looking around going, well, there's no reason to go there. There's no work. But neither side wants to get this thing sorted out in a real, reasonable way. So what do you expect is going to happen? Nothing. Right? Of course the Democrats scream and yell, we want border security. I don't want border security. I want immigration reform. Right? Border security, everybody acts like if we get border security, everything's fixed. It's not. 40% of the people that come here illegally and stay here, come here legally and stay here illegally, come from what? The visa program that's broken. That's 40%. Then you've got the ports. Border is one thing, right? It's like football, right? You got offense, defense, special teams. That's one thing. I want immigration reform, not just border security. But, man, just trying to talk to people about that, and they get so, well, it's the wall. It's a symbol of hate, a symbol of division, a symbol of what? I could look at somebody and say, well, isn't coming here illegally a symbol of somebody going on your laws? Well, I mean, you can look at however you want to see, and this is the way the world works today. However you want to see it in your mind is how you're going to believe it. Right? You say tomato, I say tomato. That's we're talking about the same thing, right? You're saying it differently. That's the reality. I say, yeah, we build a wall, somebody says, oh, it's a division of hate. And I'll say, well, you know what? It's security. It's a wall. We're talking about the same thing. We view it as two different things. We do. But he's backing off that a little bit. And he's sitting out, hey, go find more money. You can't go out and just find more money. You can't do it. I think legally you can do that. I think the money that's been allocated for other things can't be taken away from certain things. Now, you can look at some of the defense parts and things like that where he might be able to take some, but some of this other stuff, I don't think legally they can do that. But he's like passing around a hat. Like, go on, everybody, go find something. Please, please, please.
Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson under fire, losing more advertisers this morning after claiming immigrants make America poorer and dirtier, sparking an angry backlash on social media and costing his show more than a dozen sponsors.
Yeah. And this was, people are pissed. People are angry. This is what he said.
We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, they tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided.
And he talked about immigrants. He didn't say illegal immigration. He said immigrants. He went on also to say,
thanks to illegal immigration, huge swaths of the region are covered with garbage and waste that degrade the soil and kill wildlife.
Trying to appeal to who, I don't know. The Wildlife Coalition, who doesn't like illegal immigration. It was, he's getting hammered for it. He's losing sponsors. And then, of course, you get the social justice warriors who want to take people on. I don't always agree with Tucker. I'll watch him once in a great while. I tend not to watch any of these shows because, TV's on in the background, but that's only when there's something else that is just on. I don't even turn the sound up. Partly because I just don't really care a lot of what they have to say, because I know you got 4 minutes to scream and shout at each other and then it's on to another subject. And there's no real in-depth looking into it. And it's all about making a scene more than it is about informing people. But in this day and age, you got to be careful what you say. Yes, because of the PC culture. And also, no matter what you say in this day and age, doesn't mean that you're not still... You can be as politically correct as you think you're being, but it doesn't mean that you're free from being destroyed, right? Because, as I've said it over and over, and I'll continue to say it over and over, it's no longer what you say. It's how is it taken. Can somebody read something into what you tweet, what you post on Facebook, Instagram, say on the radio or television? Can somebody read into what you say as being hateful, hurtful, divisive, anti-this, anti-that, homophobic, xenophobic, racist, blah, 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 blah? If somebody can read into it, that's all it takes to start a forest fire that could potentially destroy your career. That is the reality of the world that we now find ourselves in.
Some on social media had heard enough, directly tweeting and messaging companies advertising on his show. At least a dozen of them have pulled or not renewed their ads, like Pacific Life, responding on Twitter. As a company, we strongly disagree with Mr. Carlson's statements. We will not be advertising on Mr. Carlson's show in the coming weeks as we reevaluate our relationship with his program.
Translation from them, well, let's see if this all dies down. We can slowly but surely slide back in there in the first quarter. Some people, it's a quarterly thing. They may be with them now, and it's just easier to bump out now. You don't know. But it's not just Tucker. And again, I don't agree with all that Tucker says. But if you look at, a new poll out right now talks about the fact that we want to be less PC in this culture. And it's not that you have to be rude, right? It's just that I think what we want are people not to be so uptight. Right? Not to be freaking out over a song that was made in the 50s and we think that, Bill Cosby wrote it for all of his dates. No. I'm talking about Baby It's Cold Outside. But we want, I think, not so much the quote-unquote PC culture to go away. What we want is we want people to grow thicker skin. To not take things personally. To realize that sometimes jokes don't go over well, to realize that you don't get the inflection and the attitude on a Twitter, to realize that sometimes people say something stupid offhand or flippantly doesn't mean that they're this, and this. And you're seeing it right now with a lot of people on social media who make their living on social media, right? Where for whatever reason, they're getting destroyed. The Patreons of the world and the YouTubes and the Facebooks and PayPal and what they're doing is they're slowly but surely killing people's opportunity to make some money. And then there are people out there like PewDiePie. I don't know if I say it. Is it PewDiePie? Is that the way they say his name, Phil? Is it PewDiePie?
PewDiePie.
Yeah, PewDiePie. He's got like 72 million followers. He's on YouTube. And here's one of the things. When you're an independent person, in a lot of ways, which is the way a lot of people are going in this world when it comes to social media, fun, being an entertainer, whatever it is, because you're not beholden to the things that Tucker Carlson's beholden to, which is if he says something stupid, people freak out, they pull our advertising, all of a sudden, what are we going to do? Where somebody like PewDiePie, who said some stuff and they tried to get him destroyed, he's built up such a loyal following that while Disney said, yeah, we don't know if we want to be around this guy anymore, he says, I don't care. I got 72 million followers who will follow me just about anywhere. And I've gotten to the point now where if YouTube tries to ban me, they know, unless he does something that's so egregious, that even then it's going to be troublesome because we don't want to see all that. They've built up an industry and a brand for themselves where they can withstand somebody saying, well, you shouldn't advertise. Because now what they've done, just like I've seen with Joe Rogan and many others, is they could say something controversial, but what they've built now is their own wall of defense. So when people come at them and say, you should not listen to this person's horrible, they have their own group of people that are fans of theirs that go, you know what, shut up. We love him and we know him and we don't think he's that. You need to go away. And they attack back. You don't have that in the traditional media. So that, to me, I find to be extremely interesting in this day and age. But there's also situations out there where you're seeing stuff like Patreon, who is saying, well, if you're associated with somebody that may be potentially a fascist or a right-winger or the alt-right, we're going to have to get rid of you. You can't be on here. If you are something we deem to be, controversial to the point of, even though maybe you're not, but some of your followers are, we may have to get rid of you. So what they're doing is they're choking out people's opportunities to earn a living. And I don't think that that's a good thing. I think when you get in bed with somebody like Tucker Carlson, you're doing it because he's bringing eyeballs to you, right? To your product. I'm not an idiot. I know he doesn't represent Pacific Life, right? That's not who he represents. Not an idiot. It's a commercial. But because he gets 2.5, 3 million viewers a night, people will go there and watch that. You're getting a lot of that. I also know that he's going to come with some situations that are going to be sticky at times. I understand that going in. If you want to see some of this stuff go away, companies themselves have to stand up and say, you know what? He said something. We understand that he said something. We don't agree with it, and we move on with it. And until companies start doing that, you're going to see more of this. And here's the other thing. If I'm a social justice warrior, if I'm a person that wants to go after somebody because they said something and we're going to go after their advertisers, and I can get you to move, to stop advertising, I'm going to do that over and over again and over and over again. And the thing is, and this is what as I've talked to many CEOs, their biggest fear isn't a downtime in the marketplace, isn't a slow quarter or two of growth. It is the social justice world and them being attacked and or associated with somebody they feel to be controversial, even though people understand it's not them, and they freak out about that more than anything else. And the sad thing is they say, you know what's funny? 99.9% of the people that come after us and attack us and want us to pull our advertising don't buy, use, or will ever have our product. That's sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. Butcher Box Slide. Butcher Box Slides. Butcher. I love Butcher Box. It's incredible. I get my meats. You get your meats from there? I do get my meats from there. And it is so amazing. The amount of food that you get. I always try to tell everybody, you have no idea the kind of food that you get. Sirloin, right? This is grass-fed, grass-finished beef. You get free-range, free or ranging organic chickens. The chicken breasts are you can put your chicken breasts are so big, you have no idea. All of these things, the pork, it's incredible. It's a taste like no other. And I'm telling you guys right now, still a little time, looking for that last-minute Christmas item, maybe for yourself, or maybe for somebody else, or better yet, you want to start the new year off in a way where you're eating the best of the best. This is what it's all about. It is Butcher Box. You're not going to find any kind of cuts like this anywhere else. Less than $6 a meal. A month's worth of meals, less than 6 months. And here's the great thing. Butcher Box is offering you $40 off when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Chad. $20 off your first box, $20 off your second box, and they're going to throw in bacon to sweeten the deal. Boom! That's a win. Last minute Christmas, trust me, Santa wants this, and he's going to be delivering a lot of these. Why don't you get your order in now? Go to butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
Although YouTube is filled with people giving us their opinion of what Christmas candy is best,
they're sweet.
The website candystore.com has done an actual poll. Their list of worst Christmas candy includes candy canes. Lifesaver storybooks are on there. One person says you can put it in a story, but it's still a lifesaver.
Then Santa went straight to work and decorated each of the little tree's branches with colorful Lifesavers candies.
There's ribbon candy, reindeer corn, and the number one worst Christmas candy of all, Brock's Christmas Nougat, described by one hater as simply so bad.
I've never even heard of Christmas Nougat. My favorite candy this time of year? Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Christmas trees. Can't go wrong. Well, Chad, it's just a peanut butter cup that's shaped like a Christmas tree. There you go. It's a winner. Right? Does it get any better than that? I know exactly what I'm getting. That's it right there. I'm biting into it. I know exactly what that is. It tastes delicious. And there's something about Reese's Peanut Butter Cups when they do the pumpkins and the Christmas trees where you're just like, oh, yeah, I like this. I like it. It tastes delicious, right? But some of that other stuff, and I have no idea what a Christmas nougat is. I don't even want to look it up because, gosh, you type that into your computer, next thing you know, it's just pouring everywhere.
Besides accompanying her boyfriend, Clyde Barrow, on his multi-state crime spree, Bonnie Parker wrote poetry, mostly about Bonnie and Clyde. Here's an excerpt.
Someday they will go down together, and they will bury them side by side.
As read by Bonnie's niece, Raylyn Linder. The two were not buried side by side, but 9 miles apart here in Dallas. Raylyn can't blame her grandmother for refusing to have Bonnie buried next to Clyde.
But it's been 84 years.
And she'd like to see her aunt's casket relocated to the spot alongside Clyde Barrow's grave.
Yeah, have you ever seen the pictures of the carnage? Like, there was no the back in those days, the freewheeling craziness, there was no let's just try to take him into custody. I mean, we talk about cops nowadays. It was like, all right, here's what's going to happen. When we see them, you take out everything you have and you just start blasting. And that's what they did. And they just started blasting, and it was violent. It was just a massive I mean, it was. Ooh. I've been to when you're on your way to Vegas from California, and they've got, I don't know what one of the hotels, they have like mobsters' cars, like Bonnie and Clyde. You can go see those things, and I go in there because I'm just a curious little weirdo at times, and I just thought, oh, geez, that's an awful way to go, right? But they went down fighting. That's the way they wanted to do it back then. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. Love hearing from you. We asked the question today, the movie itself. Is it a Christmas movie? Is it a action movie? Could it be a bit of both?
It's Chris. This is John.
Nice beer.
He just wants to spend Christmas with the family.
Is Daddy coming home with you?
We'll see what Santa and Mommy can do.
But when he gets stuck at the office party,
Merry Christmas!
It'll be a holiday
Merry Christmas!
he'll never forget.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah. Die Hard. Christmas movie or not. Some of you say, no, it's not. Some other people out there say, yes, it is. I think it's a bit of both, right? It could be an action movie dressed up like a Christmas movie. It can be a Christmas movie dressed up like an action movie. Either way, that's the way I feel. 26% say it's a Christmas movie. 30% say it's an action movie. 44% of you say it's both. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can text us, as always, 323-538-2423. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
President Trump celebrated the Senate's passage of legislation that aims to reduce the nation's recidivism rate and loosen sentencing guidelines for certain nonviolent offenses. Writing on Twitter, "My job is to fight for all citizens. This will keep our communities safer and provide hope and a second chance to those who earn it." The bill's passage is a major victory for the president's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner, who has led the administration's efforts on the issue.
Yeah, and it was a victory. You know, they all cheered. It was one of those things where it's like, hey, we got this thing did.
On this vote, the yeas are 87, the nays are 12. On this motion to concur in the House amendment with an amendment has been agreed to.
So we've got this bipartisan bill that goes from the Senate back up to the House. They'll pass it on through, goes to the president. He'll sign it, and away they go. What does it mean? Well, we got a lot of people in prison, and this affects about, I think, 4%, maybe 5%. It's a start. It's a step in the right direction. Don't get me wrong. And as somebody who's fiscally conservative, I look around and I look at prisons and say, what are we doing? We got to ask ourselves that. Some people need to go to jail forever. Some people need to be locked up for a long time. And some people need to go to jail forever, locked up for a long time. And even in jail, they shouldn't have contact with other human beings because they're that bad. But a majority of those people that are in prisons are going to get themselves out. Some of them over-sentenced. Some of them mental illness. There's a lot that goes into this. And I want justice reform, but it's got to be one of many steps that take place. It does. It can't just be, okay, we've done this, now what? Now what? Because what we're going to do is we're going to train them, we're going to help them, we're going to incentivize them, we're going to do all of these things to help them get out of prison in hopes that they don't go back to their old ways, in hopes that they don't go astray. But they're going to get out there and find that even though they had that day of excitement where they're getting released early and they've done all the things they were supposed to do and all of this stuff, and they're getting out, they're going to find a rude awakening when they get out in the world and realize that nobody wants to hire them. Because a lot of what they're training for, a lot of what they're going to be doing in prison and what they're learning, they're not going to be able to use in the real world because companies aren't going to give them a second chance. We in the world may say, come on out. Congratulations, you can do it. No, you can't work here, though. And the reason is that you're going to be going into homes, and I can't have that. My insurance, I can't cover it. It's too much liability. But I wish you luck. Maybe my competitor will hire you. Probably not, though. That is going to be the frustrating part. That is for a lot of these men and some of the women that are coming out. Again, it only affects about 187,000 plus. If you think about it, it's only in federal prisons. So it's not like this, 3 million people are incarcerated and 150,000 are eligible here and 300,000 there and 500. And when you add it all up, it's 1.5 million people. It's not that. It's about 200,000 people that this affects.
It would have been 88 if Lindsey Graham had been in the country. 88 votes to help people behind bars, 88 votes to give people a second chance, and 100% of people, and there's some lies out there, it's only going to help 2,000 people, 4,000 people. No, 100% of our 180,000 people behind bars, if they stay out of trouble, can come home early. 100% of the women will no longer be shackled and abused when they're pregnant. 100% of juveniles will no longer be in solitary confinement in our federal system. 50% of those people who are locked up can earn their way home even sooner if they are job ready. The New York Times says this is the biggest breakthrough in criminal justice in a generation.
Yeah, and that's Van Jones. And he, by the way, was all about the president. Right? And this guy is the biggest critic out there of the president. It's tough to find. He's a critic of people who are supporters, and he's a critic of people who are critics who aren't critical enough of the president. And yet this president got it did.
To his credit, Donald Trump moved from talking about, law and order and lock them up to saying, listen, everybody deserves a second chance. People make mistakes. Let's take some proven programs from Georgia where they cut the prison population and the crime rate. Texas cut the prison population and the crime rate and do it at the federal level. And he became, to the shock of everybody, the biggest, loudest champion on criminal justice and used his power to get something done.
Yeah, and I'm glad. Look, Trump, here's the one thing about Trump. Drives me crazy, all of these things, the tweeting, the chaos, the fighting all the time, the fight between Mueller and him, the witch hunt, the whole 9 yards. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but you know who's mad when he says witch hunt? Witches are mad. They're mad. They're mad because he says witch hunt. They're like, no, don't use us. But he got it done yesterday. Pump stock got it done. Said he was going to do something about it. Take a look at something. He went and did it. Right? Obama didn't get this done. It was bipartisan across the board. But the opportunities to get out are just a part of it. The biggest part is when the men and women get the opportunity to come out, how are they going to be received in the place that is going to matter so much, society, in particular work? Because if nobody's willing to give you a second chance, for whatever reason, and a lot of that's going to be liability, especially for a lot of these men who are going to be learning skills, trades, they're going to get out. And what are they going to do? Not have a place to work, because very few places are going to take them on. Because what do most places tout when you hear them on radio or television? Our guy, our tech, our person is going to show up with their badge and their what? They've had a background check and they're criminal free. They've got no crime. And that's because you're going into people's homes. It's finding out how to give people opportunities a second chance. And in some places, states may have to assume that responsibility over a small business owner. But for a lot of small businesses, and I've talked to a lot of them, it's just a risk they're not willing to take as much as they want to help. I had a buddy who's pretty decent size solar panel company. He was giving people second chances. It cost him big time. He said, I won't do it again. I can't afford to do it again. Not that I don't want to, just can't afford to. And I think that right there is one of the things we have to look at. How do we get people the opportunity to have a second chance in this day and age? Because so many of us, I'm sure, want to give people second chances, but just because you want to doesn't mean you're going to be able to. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Guess what, kids? We're getting closer and closer and closer to a shutdown.
We'll soon take up a simple measure that will continue government funding into February so we can continue this vital debate after the new Congress has convened.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell. So February 8th looks like what they're going to do is do what they normally do. They kick the can down the road so they don't have to be there through the holiday period. They can all go home, right? Like another bipartisan thing they can all agree on. We don't want to be here. So they'll get this thing sorted out and it'll move down there. They can fight more and more over the border wall. And once again, the budget, the whole 9 yards, not being taken care of because this fight over a wall that may or may not get built. That may be a wall, but it might be a fence. But it may be a barrier. But it may be, and Trump, man, I mean, he was like, I got to figure this out, right? I'm doing this. This is it, right? Like, I'm telling you guys right now, this is what we're doing here. This right here, this is what we're doing. We're going to get this thing sorted out. I promise you guys this. I'm not changing that, and he's already starting to pull back a little bit from that, which I don't care about because I think the wall's not going to fix the things that people think it's going to fix. But some people are already angry about that and feel like, why is he doing all of these other things with bump stocks and criminal justice when he's still out there? Here we are 2 years into it and still no border wall fence thing.
I think when the president says he's not going to back down from border security and that he'll find the money, quote, one way or the other, it's because he has a solemn obligation to all of us, including people who didn't vote and people who didn't vote for him, to make sure that we are protected in our communities.
Yeah, Kellyanne Conway right there. I'm sure her husband's behind her going, yeah, whatever. So it's not going to happen anytime soon, the wall. It's not. They're fighting now over the name. Should it be a wall? Should it be a fence? Should it be a barrier? I said yesterday, I was talking to my friend, I'm like, you know what we should do? We should just make it a giant spider web. Just a big ass, giant, huge cobweb spider web. Most people are terrified of spiders. And we put tarantulas and all kinds of spiders on it. It's nature, right? There'll be spider webs out. And that way, what happens is somebody gets stuck and they'll start to move really fast. And then we can alert the Border Patrol and anybody else that needs to get there because it'll be just like the spider and they'll slowly but surely head over there. And they're like, I got one. And they've come pre-wrapped. Chad, you're a jerk. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Question of the day. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or is it an action movie? 26% of you saying it's a Christmas movie. 25% of you say it's an action movie. 49% of you now say it's both. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can tweet at me right there. And you can also text the program 323-538-CHAD, 323-538-2423. My Pillow. Man, Christmas, not too far away. You're still looking for those last-minute Christmas gifts. My Pillow's the way to go. Incredible. Give a good night's sleep, because the thing is, you're not just giving something for the day. A good night's sleep will last, potentially, years and years and years and years and years and years and years. That's a lot of years. So My Pillow will do for you. I sleep amazing when I have my My Pillow with me, and sometimes I travel and I forget it. I take my Go Anywhere pillow. It's incredible. It is so incredible. Made in the USA, 10-year warranty, 100% machine washable and dryable cotton. And this is what they're doing for a limited time. So get on this now. Give that gift, and maybe give a little gift for yourself as well. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. Boom. And if you order now, they're going to extend their money-back guarantee to March 1st, 2019. Are you understanding that? They'll let you try it. And if you don't like it, they're going to, there you go, money-back guarantee till March 1st. What? That is a win right there. How do you get this great offer? MyPillow.com. Promo code is Benson, or call 800-983-4975. 800-983-4975 or mypillow.com. When you go there, use my promo code, which is Benson. That's mypillow.com, promo code Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
The White House says in a statement that while the U.S. has defeated ISIS in Syria, this doesn't signal the end of the U.S. campaign there. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says, quote, "We have started returning United States troops home as we transition to the next phase of this campaign." But she doesn't say what that next phase entails. Right now, there are approximately 2,000 American service members in eastern Syria. Sanders says the U.S. stands ready to, quote, "re-engage at all levels to defend American interests whenever necessary."
Yeah, so we're going to get out of Syria. And why it's interesting is this, because the way that they're talking about it is that we have got ourselves in a situation where we've built up some troops and we've trained some folk, which is vitally important.
The first U.S. troops arrived in eastern Syria in late 2015. It started very small, about 50 U.S. troops. Then it grew several months later to 250. And the U.S. kept very quiet the number of actual troops that were in Syria. We were always told it was about 500. In reality, that number was more like 2,000. And that's where we've been for about the last year and a half. Those troops have been advising and assisting the Syrian Democratic Forces now that whole time against ISIS. And that force that used to be a ragtag group is now pretty much an efficient force.
And that's why it's important, because too often our getting into war, as we all know, is not very hard. Even winning to a certain extent isn't very hard. The problem comes when we don't have that plan of how do we get out of here, right? How do we exit stage left without making a fool of ourselves and having to come back here later on down the road because we've made a giant mess? The way that they've trained these soldiers is they've made them hardened, badasses, and we feel confident enough that we can leave. That vacuum of us leaving isn't going to be just not filled with anything other than what we've already got there. They're going to be able to take them on. And that's really important, because too often what we see it with the Taliban, right? Which is what? We go in there, we whoop some ass, we do the things that we did, and the Taliban scatter, and, Al-Qaeda runs for the hills and the whole 9 yards. And then when we eventually, slowly but surely, start to pull out and we reduce the numbers, what ends up happening is come back out of the hills. They do all this kind of stuff. They know that there isn't the force there, and they can start to reassert their dominance and do that again. And if you have something in place that will stop people and say, you know what, we were going to try to reassemble here, but it ain't worth it. It isn't. It's not going to be a good look for any of us. So I think our best bet is to not be here. That's a big thing. So we'll see how this goes, but it looks like it's going to be somewhat immediate, and it looks like it's going to pick up steam sooner rather than later as far as how fast they're going to be pulling out of there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Of course, yesterday, Flynn got a, hey, you know what? Why don't you come back in March and we'll talk about this again before I sentence you after being kind of just hammered. Surprisingly, I think, by the judge. I didn't think he thinks it was going to be that way. So what happens for him next?
He's met 19 times. That's an enormous number of times. Most of the time, someone meets with someone like this 3 times, maybe 4, 19 times already. I don't know how much more he's going to be able to provide.
Well, he's going to provide some more, but it might not. And a lot of what he may provide in the future, Flynn, has zero to do with Russia investigation as far as it pertains to Trump and the presidency and the campaign and all of that stuff. A lot of what he may be providing in the future has to do with colleagues, people he worked with who did something similar to what he did, which was being a foreign lobbyist, an unregistered agent. And so he's going to have to go out there and talk about them. And they want to make sure they have him in a situation where he could talk about them and give up the information they want as they go after, and they've already indicted, I think, 2 people he's worked with in the past. So that's going to be interesting. But at least for now, he is out and free, and we'll see what the judge does in March. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet at us. Die Hard, is it an action movie? Is it a Christmas movie? Somebody texted and said, what about Gremlins? That's a good one, too. Right? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight?
As a neuroscientist, I was so interested in this idea that we know where pain resides in the brain. And what we now know is that people who are chronically lonely, they have higher activity in that pain part of the brain. So even though it's loneliness, it can register as physical pain.
Yeah, it can. And it's very interesting. There's a new study out about Americans. America! Song's kind of depressing. But when you struggle with loneliness, when it's the most dangerous as far as a person just being lonely and the thoughts and stuff inside their head, first is the 20s, the late 20s. And the reason for that is because it's a pivotal time in your life. And these are all moments where they're pivotal moments. They're big watershed moments in your life. So your late 20s. Why? What happens? Well, you're out of school. Your childhood, if you will, has come to an end, right? You're now making choices that are going to affect the rest of your life, they say. Career, life partner, where you're going to live. Basically, you realize responsibility is here, and this is what it looks like, right? Then comes the mid-50s. I turn 48 tomorrow. Not quite there yet. But what happens in the mid-50s? You look around. It's a midlife crisis, as people say. Uh-oh. I've got friends who've passed away, right? That's what a lot of people, some of my friends might have passed away. You realize your mortality. Oh, yeah, I realize that. It's mortality starts to set in, that you know that you're closer to the finish line than you are the starting line in life. And you start to become aware of a lot of that stuff. And then they say the final time that it really affects people, the loneliness, and when you start to, you sit with yourself alone and it affects you the most, is when you're in your 80s. Partly, you start to feel helpless. Now, I think this will change as we move in modern times. I think by the time, we talked about it yesterday. I think some of that is your mind anyways. I mean, the fact that Bill Wyman and the Stones are going on tour and he's 82 and Keith Richards turned 75. And you're still looking, they're still doing their thing. But for a lot of people, they feel helpless, right? Half of the people their age have some sort of disease, whether it be a physical disease as far as like cancer or something like that, or they have in their mind dementia, things of that nature. Physical abilities have obviously declined. And then you look around and you realize that a lot of people aren't with you anymore. Maybe your spouse, right? Your mother and father are gone, siblings, friends. You start to feel that anxiety, stress, the whole 9 yards, and it affects people. And loneliness is, man, I'm telling you, it is a nasty, nasty, nasty thing. And what it can do for your health, and especially this time of year where people are celebrating and it's holidays and it's family and so many things, the things that it can do if you've got people around is great, and the things that it can do and affect you when you don't have people around,
This will shock you, just how much of an impact being lonely can have on your health. What they have found now in a few different studies is that it's on par with being a smoker. It increases your risk of real diseases like heart disease, like diabetes. So we think about loneliness in this abstract sense, but the health effects are very objective and very real.
Yeah. And it's a mind thing, right? And I tell people, the mind is just a beast on what it can and can't do. It really is. And if you use your mind right, you're surprised at the things it can do, not only for you in the world that surrounds you, but physically, it's incredible. That's why when you look at people, and all of us have done this, and Phil, I'm sure you've done this too, Producer Phil, where you've got friends who you went to school with, you're still rocking out, man. You're still playing guitar, you're still having a good time, and you see people you haven't seen in years, and you're like, why do you feel like you're 90 years old? We're the same age, and I still act like I'm 20 at times, and you act like you're 70.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awful. Awful, 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 awful. The mind, so vitally important.
We're talking heavy hitters like Microsoft and Amazon, who are accused of accessing the data of millions of people per month, including personal information like email addresses and phone numbers. The report even saying that Facebook allowed Netflix and Spotify to read, write, and delete private messages between users.
Can you imagine that? Right? Can you imagine that for a second? The insanity of our world is out there. And by that, I mean every bit of you now, unless you are so far off the grid that you're not even listening to this radio show in some way, shape, or form, your world is out there. And Facebook has got some serious issues when it comes to this stuff. To allow companies, corporations, to not only see your private information, to see private messages, and to either change them, erase them, to even look at them is insane. This is what they had to say.
Facebook giving us a statement saying, in part, Facebook's partners don't get to ignore people's privacy settings. It is wrong to suggest that they do. They add that none of the information was shared without users' permission, but they know they have a lot of work to restore trust with their users.
Let me ask you a question. Anybody out there? Have you given Netflix, Spotify, Pandora, blah, 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 whoever it is, have you given them the right to go through your personal messages? Hell no. Majority wouldn't even let your friends or your wife or your husband go through some of your personal messages, let alone Spotify. No, honey, you can't look at my phone, but Spotify can. That's insane. That is crazy that but this is it. Well, but Chad, you sign up for, I get it. Look, I've always known that if you're giving me something for free, it's because I am the bait. I'm not the customer. I'm the end product. But also, if you're going to use me as the end product, you have some right to us. You've got to say, okay, here it is. You're the end product, yes, indeed, but we have to treat you right. We can't allow your information to be stolen. We should do everything we can to protect you. We realize that we're going to use you as marketing bait for all of these things, but there has to come some sort of thing. And while you may sign off, and this is where the word gets vague in some of these things, it said, yeah, I don't care that you send me to some of your marketing companies. That's not the same thing. It's like, yeah, we're going to send you to marketing companies. And oh, by the way, we're going to allow those companies to go in and look at your data and to go in and look at your private conversations with other people, because nobody I know is signing up for that. No matter how much you're like, I don't care what they see. No, wrong. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us, Justice Reform. It is done. Some people are excited about it. This person indeed is excited. Van Jones.
This is a Christmas miracle. You had, for the first time in more than a generation, both parties coming together to do something for the people at the bottom. There's no big super PAC. You're not getting campaign donations. This is the right thing to do. And what it means is that people can earn their way home sooner by getting themselves job ready, transforming themselves. There's going to be programs so that people who are locked up have an incentive and a reason to work hard and come home better and not bitter.
Better and not bitter, which I love that. I absolutely love that. And it's a big thing. It's a great thing. I like what they did. It's a first step. But as we've talked about this kind of throughout the day, my question is to you. You're a small business owner. Are you willing to take the risk to bring somebody on who's a convicted felon, even if it's nonviolent? Can your insurance handle that? Are you willing to take that risk? Because I've got a lot of people who've been texting me and instant messaging me and tweeting at me saying, I would love to, but can't. And I'm sure there's some companies out there that can and probably would. But I also think if we're going to see this thing done right, and remember, it's only about 188,000 people or so, just under 200,000 people that this is going to affect, this justice, criminal reform bill, which is, I think, is great. It's a start in the right step. But when they get out, if they've got nothing to go to and they can't continue to work, that's where the recidivism comes in, because eventually they fall back into their old ways. So would you do it? I think that's a real question right there. How far are people willing to go? And would you do it if the states assume some responsibility? So your company, should somebody go off the rails? Because it will happen, right? It's going to happen. I mean, you've got people who work for you now, potentially, who've done nothing wrong, but it doesn't mean they're not going to in the future. But would you, if they were willing to assume responsibility? Yeah, I think some people would. But for some companies, with insurance and everything like that, it's not possible.
In the House, we had 360 to 59 with a more modest bill. It went to the Senate. It got even bigger. I think you're going to have a second step, a third step, a fourth step act. And at some point, we are going to be able to look back on this moment and say, against all odds, under Donald Trump, the first breakthrough forward away from mass incarceration took place.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I think we're going to look back on it and say it was a start in the right direction, but I am more worried about the after, because I think after is so vitally important. After they get out, we can incentivize them. We can try to reform them. We can give them hope, but the hope ends the minute they realize that all of the stuff they've did is for naught because they can't use any of it. That would be so frustrating. And what do you do then? If you can't find a job, if nobody's willing to give you a second chance, and the only place that does is a burger joint, and you got a kid, and you got all of these, you're trying to get your life on track, and you get frustrated. You do. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays itself out in the long run. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody's like, don't be so negative. I'm not. I'm being honest. I'm being honest. Nothing wrong with being honest. I just think that we've got to figure out a way to not only incentivize them, but to incentivize others when it comes to employing and giving people second chances. Because if we do that, then I bet you will see this thing grow and be a success. If we don't do that, what you'll see is people get out and then people get frustrated. And then eventually some of them, a majority of them, I think, will, the recidivism rate will continue to stay high because they got nothing. So they get desperate. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's getting cooler outside across the country, no matter where you are. Kids, I don't care where you are. When it's cool, as you get a little bit older, your back, your knees, all of that stuff, it starts to hurt. So you need a mattress that is going to help you with that. For me, all the years I played sports, I put my body through a lot. I'm glad I got my Casper mattress. My back does not hurt when I wake up in the morning on my Casper. It doesn't. My hips, my knees don't hurt. My shoulders don't hurt. Thank you, Casper mattress. Here's what they're doing. 100 nights, risk-free. You try it in your own home. You order it. They send you this little box. You look at it and you said, do I need to? Is there more coming? They're like, nope, that's it. You take out the box. Voila! An amazing mattress. From there, that's when the party gets started. You try it for 100 nights. If you don't like it, they'll come pick it up, refund your money, no questions asked. 35,000 five-star reviews on Casper, Google, Amazon. You get where I'm going with this. It works. It's amazing. Sleep cool, sleep comfortable. Get yourself a Casper this holiday season. Why don't you do it right now? Go to Casper.com. Use my code CHAD. It's going to save you $50 toward the purchase of selected mattresses. That's Casper.com, code CHAD. $50 right there towards the purchase of selected mattresses. Casper.com. Terms and conditions apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. CHADBENSON. Got your useless fact of the day and a really good gesture. A really good gesture by a guy who was insulted by another guy and what he did. I like the story. It's a really good story. Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
Amazon did extend that deadline to today. So if you want to ship for free, you don't even have to be a Prime member. You can send those packages out. But Walmart and Target, they have their deadlines tomorrow. U.S. Postal Service, also the deadline for priority mail is tomorrow.
All right. So that's them. Check out what FedEx is doing, though. So remember, we're still trying to do all that stuff, shipping, doing all the stuff, wrap, ship. I got to send it out. Oh, my, that's holiday's not too far away. Oh, my God, what are you going to do? It's Christmas Day.
FedEx, you can wait until Christmas Day in 30 markets across the country and ship those packages out same day on Christmas Day, but it will cost you $50 on top of the price of shipping.
Now, I don't think that's awful. $50? I don't think it's awful. If you can get it out there, if you need to get it there, same day kind of delivery, I wouldn't think that would be the worst thing in the world. I mean, if it's that important and if you're shipping something like that, it's probably that important. They're doing a service for you. They're doing it on a day that is so great to all of us. This is the Christmas time of year. So it's not bad. So you still got a little bit of time. But I will tell you this. If you're going to go the normal route, you better get to it. You better get to it. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Speaking of routes, are you going to be traveling?
If you haven't traveled for a while, there are a couple of changes. Not only do laptops have to come out, but every large electronic has to come out, and food as well. And the reason is sometimes food can mask things.
Yeah, food can definitely mask things. And I'm going to give you guys a bit of advice, right? It's just free, right? You have to use it, but you probably should. You may like something, right? You may like something a lot. It tastes good to you. It's your favorite thing, whatever it is. Your mom has made you something, you bought something, and you think it's great, and you can't wait to get on the plane and eat it and stuff. You're in a confined cylinder. Understand, you're in a confined cylinder. If you know, because people have told you that it smells bad, don't be that person that brings on something that smells bad. Please don't. It's just awful. It really, really, really is. It's just don't do it. That's cheap advice from the cheapest seats. I'm just letting you know that. Now, if you are going to be traveling, you should look outside your window because of the weather.
This is the first busy day of the travel season. The airlines are expecting 45 million Americans to fly over this holiday season. The weather's a problem. The airlines are telling us that they can handle that weather. But the question is, what about TSA? Well, they tell us they are adding officers to deal with the lines.
Yeah. It's gonna be wild. It is this year. It's gonna be huge. So be prepared. Get there early. Get your stuff ready. Don't be the person that holds up the line as you go through the stuff. And for God's sakes, if you travel a lot and you've still not got your pre-check, what are you doing? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Poll question today. What do you think Die Hard is? Is it a movie that is an action movie? Is it a Christmas movie? Is it a bit of both? Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. So far, 49% of you say it's a bit of both. 25% say action movie. 26% say Christmas movie. You can also text the program, 323-538-2423. Your useless Christmas fact of the day. One Horse Open Sleigh was the name of the song. It was actually written about Thanksgiving. It's now called Jingle Bells for most of us, and it's become a Christmas classic rather than a Thanksgiving classic. And here's the other thing. December 16th, 1965, Gemini 6, Up in Space. Jingle Bells was the first song ever played in space. Have a good rest of your hump day. We'll do it again tomorrow on Night Night Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.